Theory gets my last name right, but for some reason, so many people are just like they just think it's a play. My full username is like a play on television, but it's
Yeah,
not.
but that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, it's not. It's just my name.
I'm Swaggershills, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Ted, you just said that you went to a game with your dad, and you said you were both high.
Yeah.
You got high with your dad?
Yeah. Ever since it kind of Massachusetts made marijuana legal for recreation, my dad has really, because my dad smoked weed all the time when he was in college and stuff.
Yeah.
And he recently started getting more into it. So he's got like a little pen, and whenever he's a season ticket holder for the Red Sox, so he goes to the games all the time, and he'll always just he'll smoke a pen
That's
before
really cool.
going.
It's hella cool.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. I get to, whenever I'm home, I just smoke with my dad. Yeah, one of our traditions now is like we like to smoke and then watch Rick and Morty, and that's the only time he ever watches Rick and Morty. And he loves the show because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
is what he'll say. It's just so ridiculous. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start the podcast by having you two tell us about yourself, what you're doing currently, about your group.
Okay, Travis.
Yeah, like for those of the audience, the very, very, very tiny amount of the audience that doesn't know who you guys are.
Right. Well, okay, I guess I'll go first. I'm Ted. I run I don't really know what my channel is. I just kind of do whatever the fuck I think is funny. And it's like sort of like commentary on like shitty movies. I do stuff like with one of the people who are in our group lunch club with Cooper. We did this thing where we invented Healy tricks. That was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, I remember that video.
And I'm doing YouTube, and I'm also going to college right now for cinema and photography is my major.
Hey.
Yeah.
What about you, Travis?
For me, I do so many different things. I'm so. Nah, I'm just kidding. No, I do. No, right now, just uploading YouTube videos, like gaming content, stuff
Streaming
like that.
too, right?
Streaming,
Yeah.
He's married to the grind.
Mostly all the stuff on my YouTube is just taken from my Twitch and edited down, made it funnier.
Did you start with Twitch first?
No,
YouTube
no,
first?
Yeah, YouTube first.
His first couple videos were really interesting.
Yeah.
What were they?
Are they still on the channel? They're like these 7-second videos. This was back when I didn't really even know Travis back in the day when I saw these videos for the first time, but it's like just a angry looking dog, and then him in Photoshop just moving it around, just going rawr, 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 rawr. Like 7 to 10-second videos. Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one I made, I just screen recorded Photoshop, and then I just moved it around, and then I edited it. I just cut it out, cut the parts out, and then cropped it, so you can't see like all the Photoshop controls. But you can still see like the gray background.
Right.
So, and then I just cut it up and uploaded that, and just was like.
You had one that was with a frisbee, right? Where it was like a frisbee, and then it was just like going across different landscapes.
Yeah, frisbee would go across the screen, and the background would change.
Would you have the mouse pointer on the frisbee and drag it across the screen?
No, because when I did that one, I actually upgraded to using keyframes.
Okay, this is
it's getting good.
Keyframes in Premiere.
Wow.
The first 2 videos were capped Photoshop, and then I think I made 5 more after that, where it's keyframing in Premiere.
That's what we call growth, folks.
How did
That
those
is
videos
growth.
do?
Well, when I first uploaded them, nothing. But right now, I think they all have over 150K.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we call legacy views, folks.
Well, where did you start, Ted?
Where did I start?
Yeah.
Oh, so a long time ago. So I first off, when I started you want the very, very beginning?
Sure.
Okay. 2009, I made a channel called Pivot.
2009?
Yeah, I made a channel called Pivot TKN, which is
This
like
guy's
my
old.
first, middle, and last name.
Was
TKN.
Pivot... Was that the stick
Pivot-
figure animation?
Yeah, stick
Yeah,
figures.
there you go.
Yeah.
I was really, really into stick figure animations. So I made a couple of those. I originally had gotten into animation because I had gone to a video game camp called Imagination Camp because I wanted to learn how to make video games. But then when I was there, I got really into an animation class that showed me Flash animation. And it was too expensive for me at the time to get Macromedia Flash. So I started using Pivot, and I got really into that. And then I got into the sort of the stick figure animation world, and I started uploading those to YouTube. And then I eventually kind of stopped doing that because it took too fucking long. And then I made I wanted to play Minecraft, but I only had an Xbox. I didn't have a good computer at the time. And the best game for like the Minecraft equivalent at the time, because Minecraft hadn't come out for Xbox yet. It was called Total Miner.
Oh, I remember that shit. That was a
Oh.
good ass
Yeah,
game.
so I played Total Miner all the time. This was back when I had an Xbox and my parents still had parental control, so I can only play the Xbox for like 2 hours at a time before it got locked out.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so I made my first real video that I made on YouTube, where I actually went into it intending to make a video, not just re-uploading like animations I'd made. Was I'd made like a zombie quarantine town, and it was called like Total Miner Zombie Quarantine Town, and my channel was called Total Miner Builder. And it was like my first video I ever really tried to make for YouTube, and it got 40,000 views.
Holy
which I
crap.
was
That's not
like,
bad. First
Oh,
attempt.
yeah.
so, which was weird because it was like it set up so high of an expectation for how videos are supposed to do
Yeah.
on YouTube,
Yeah.
or when you're really, really small. And I did that for the longest time, and I started doing Minecraft and stuff. And but then eventually I moved to make a new channel called Jibberdah, and I made that on my
Jibberdah?
Jibberdah, because
Jibberdah?
because in see, there's so much to this. When I used to go to camp, I had this nickname as this like ridiculous character I used to do all the time, and I called it Jibberdah. So the username Jibberdah was supposed to be a phonetical way of how I used to say that name, and I would go Jibberdah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see. How do you spell it?
Jehberdeh.
Jesus.
And then I did gaming videos on that. I made that on my birthday in 2013, and I made gaming videos all the way up until like 2015, until I kind of stopped, and I only had like 3,600 subscribers or something. And then when I got to college, I switched into doing sort of normal videos,
Yeah.
and I did that pretty much up until I kept doing it. I was doing it like once every like 4 months. I was making a video, and then I went on the podcast, the Solitary Confinement podcast with Carson.
Hey,
And
I was on that.
he
That's an
kind of
old
got
one.
me into. He kind of told me that the videos I made were like good, and that I should make them more often. So I started doing them more and more, and sort of in the last like 2 years, and now here I am.
Do you still do any gaming content? Like, do you stream?
I do stream, yeah. I
Yeah.
stream on my Twitch. I have like a second channel that I want to do like highlight videos and stuff, but it's just I'm so busy with college right now that
Yeah.
I can't. Currently I'm taking a 2-month break from YouTube right now just
Yeah.
to finish college. So I don't really even have time for that. But once I get out of college, I think I'm going to start doing streaming highlights more.
That's
Hell
a smart
yeah.
thing. Waiting
Yeah.
until you're like completely done with college. If you're like
Yeah,
right at the
exactly.
end there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're at the end. It's not like you're just
Yeah,
a
final
year in,
stretch.
2 years in. It's
Yeah.
like it's like you
Exactly.
can
Might
wait
as well
2
finish
months,
it.
dude.
Yeah,
you can wait 2
exactly.
months.
It's like literally like May 17th is commencement. So
Then
it's
easy,
like,
dude.
yeah.
Easy dub. You'll have a degree that you'll hang
Yeah.
up on your wall, and it'll gather dust.
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
as,
And
then
as
you'll
you
hang your
make it
YouTube
on
plaque
YouTube.
over it.
Very,
There you
very
go.
expensive receipt, as they
Yeah,
call it.
a nice little receipt.
Yeah.
So, Travis, when did you transition from little Photoshop animations to gaming?
It all started because like I was just hanging out with like Carson and everyone, and they're like, you should do that, or like I was kind of showed interest because they all did it.
How did you meet Carson and those people?
So it all started because I met Cooper first.
Yeah.
In 2018 VidCon, we
Okay.
stayed at the same Airbnb
Oh, you
then.
went to VidCon.
Yeah.
So was that through a mutual friend you met
Yeah,
Cooper?
yeah. Mutual friend.
Who was the
like,
mutual friend?
It was my friend Sam. I don't know if you guys know him. 69 Sam 420. Yeah.
No.
That's his name.
Don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's him.
Doesn't ring a bell.
The username aptly called
That's
69 Sam 420.
Yeah.
That's really
That's
good.
him.
That's a respectful
Yeah,
username.
he was our mutual friend. I met Cooper there. And then eventually we just kept talking after VidCon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Cooper invited Carson to play Fortnite with him. So I met Carson through that session.
That's
Hell
so
yeah.
funny. That's so funny. I like the way I met Carson was just like was just so kind of weird because like Carson and I met because I think Carson's been subscribed to me for like almost 6 years at
Holy
this point.
shit.
Yeah.
What a loser.
Yeah, total loser. Don't know why he was watching. Like, because back when I made the gaming videos, he was subscribed to me, and this was back when he also originally on his Call Me Carson channel made gaming videos of like CS:GO and like Trouble in Terrorist Town and stuff. I think.
Overwatch pun videos.
I don't know if Overwatch was even out by then. But
Carson,
cringing in the corner like-
Carson is off camera
yeah, he's over
right
there.
now
looking like an
watching the
idiot.
show. I'm sorry to bring that up. He's cringing really hard.
I can see the physical
I'm
cringe.
so
like,
sorry.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
he and I both were putting these short little videos on YouTube Haiku, and he messaged me on Twitter at one point. And he was like, "Hey man, we both have the top video on YouTube Haiku," and I said, "That's cool." And then like a year went by. No, maybe 2 years went by, and then he was like, "Hey, want to come on my podcast?" And then that's when we met, pretty much. And then I don't know. And then like 4 months later, I started just going on his videos.
Oh yeah.
So when did, because you guys are both in Lunch Club,
Yes.
previously known as Goop and many other names.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
When did
Fart Club was my favorite.
Yeah. Fart
Game
Club
Men wasn't my
Game
preferred
Men,
choice,
dude.
but Game
Game Men.
Game Men.
Game Men.
Game Men.
What is?
We out here gaming,
No,
you know?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
game men.
Goes up
Yeah.
Game Men,
We are
but you're
game men.
gaming. You're gaming Game Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Gaming or gaming?
We are game men. That was what the point of the name
Yeah.
was. I don't
No,
know
it's a
what
totally-
the confusion is.
totally reasonable name?
It just seemed a little bit generic.
Well, that's why we don't have it anymore.
Of course.
Yeah.
Fart Club was original.
Oh yeah. Fart
Who
Club,
came up
it
with
was
Fart Club?
fresh, literally. It sort of but
Who came up with Fart Club? Whose idea was that?
I think it was sort of
I think it was our friend Josh.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
his idea.
it was
There you go.
Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Farted the most.
when did you guys decide that instead of just being a bunch of people playing games together and hanging out together, you want to actually make it into a group?
I don't really know, and I'm getting a lot of confused
Yeah.
faces from the people off camera too. So I don't think we really know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't know. I think
When
we
did
all,
you call it Goop?
what?
Like when did you settle on like branding for your group?
I don't know. I wasn't really in like the name choice thing. I remember at one point it was the Unzip podcast that Carson was running, and then people were like, we want to start like a new podcast, and we're gonna call it Goopcast. And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty weird as a name, so I like it. And I was just like down. I don't know exactly what the naming process was, but yeah.
So what was that like just over a year ago?
Yeah,
Just
I'm
about.
really fucking struggling on the timeline right now.
Oh my
because
God.
it's been a very quick year. and a half
Travis
so
is
far.
drawing blanks too. He's just sitting there shaking his
Yeah,
head.
we don't really know, but it just kind of ended up as like Lunch Club, and I don't know. It's nice to see the channel now sort of turning into something like real. It's sort of kind of gaining a serious shape, which is nice, and to have like that kind of consistent branding now. Cool with the
'Cause
Lunch Club.
How would you describe what Lunch Club is?
We make the funny, we do the thing. That's our quote. That's on our Twitter. You can look at it there and I think that's probably
What's the Twitter? What's the Twitter?
At Lunch Club.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a quote that had been told to me by an old man who was
Pretty old.
he was pretty old. I met him at a farmer's market in Pennsylvania, and I said, he was part of a improv comedy troupe for old men only, and I asked him, well, what do you do? And he said, we make the funny, we do the thing, and that really stuck with me.
He was from the comedy troupe FOMO
Mm-hmm.
for old men only.
Yes, yeah.
So interestingly enough, sometimes people will say that we make the funny, but
But do they really do the thing? Is the
I've
question?
come to
Yeah.
understand that the only time we get to make the funny is when we've just had a fresh glass of Gamer Subs.
Oh,
Without
okay.
a fresh glass of Gamer Subs from gamersubs.gg using code Misfits, we just really struggled to be funny, Swagger's just downing one right now.
Should I make some gamer subs?
I mean,
with
you
this?
can if
Finish
you
mine.
want.
Join me. I'll
Finish
make it
mine.
some. Join me.
Corona.
Dude, I'm wearing a mask. No excuse.
That doesn't.
You just
That-
ate a fucking you ate a chicken nugget off the fucking floor.
Oh,
yeah,
you
because
think
the
so?
floor doesn't have coronavirus. You might.
Dude,
Speaking
that's
of
really
coronavirus,
disrespectful.
Oh.
is that something that is a genuine concern? And is it ever in the back of your head at the moment? Both
Here's
of
the
you?
here's
Or
the
in your
thing.
lungs.
It's definitely more. It's gained sort of a legitimacy in my mind when the schools start like the colleges in my area, such as
Oh yeah,
like
the local
the
ones.
colleges in the New York area are for instance like Syracuse. They're moving to just online classes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
one
God,
Of
it's
the,
about
one
time.
of the other
Damn.
colleges in my college town, they are moving to online classes. Mine hasn't yet, but they're definitely going to. And what's weird about that is that kind of affects how I do my classes and stuff like that. But it also it makes it more legitimate in the sense that it's like, oh shit, this is something I might actually
Mhm.
get.
What about you, Travis? Has it been something that you've been concerned about at all?
Honestly, I've not been paying I never pay attention to any stuff like this.
Same.
So I've totally like
Good.
don't know anything about it, to be honest.
Good.
The only stuff I know is if like people around me are talking, my brain's like, yeah, I remember that. You know.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it's
much it.
weird because I don't know if in our lifetime at least I feel like we haven't really seen too much. I don't know. It's weird because
Ah,
it's not
dude,
that it's not
H1
that deadly, but it's just spreading
H1Z1,
so much.
SARS, like
Yeah, but those got stopped so
There were, like,
fast.
small,
and,
like,
this
remote
is so many
areas.
more
yeah,
people
this
that
is
have died.
this is
Plus,
it's
It's
contagious.
just everywhere now.
But it's only
every
like what,
country.
2% of people that die. I mean, either way,
like 4.
either way.
On a positive note, everyone's all at home. They're watching Netflix. They're watching YouTube. It's good for us. More people are watching this podcast, maybe.
there you go.
There you go.
Well, hopefully.
If you're at
Hopefully.
home sick with the
If
coronavirus
they haven't
and
died
you're
yet,
tuning in,
You want to hear something funny? Have you
Yeah.
heard this? Corona beer has lost $135 million in sales because of the coronavirus.
yeah, dude,
Oh, yeah.
35% of all Americans who won't drink coronavirus
Because
That's
because they
epic.
think that it has
well, they
something
won't
to do
drink.
with
I'm sure they
coronavirus?
won't
drink
Oh, the
coronavirus. Yeah, I
corona.
hope so.
They
I
won't
don't wanna
drink
drink that.
corona because they think it has
I mean,
something to
I
do
think
with
I'm in that
coronavirus.
35 cents. I won't drink coronavirus. I'll drink Corona beer.
Yeah, that's
But-
what I meant.
Yeah. But it's so stupid that you messed it up, though.
It
Yeah,
really
like the
is.
people
You're a
that
big
won't
dumb
I'm
drink
actually
fucking idiot.
It's
embarrassed.
funny because it was a funny
Yeah.
mess up.
Hey, dude, I drink gamer subs.
And he made the
I made the
funny.
funny.
Hey, we
Ah,
made the funny. Look at
shoot.
that.
We
Mind
make the funny,
blown.
we do the thing. Oh
So
my god.
you study film? Right?
Yes, my major is cinema and photography with a concentration in cinema production. Baby.
And
Gay
is
kinda.
like is film? Has that always been a big part of your life?
Yeah, I mean, going back when I originally did that sort of animation shit, that sort of kind of led into me doing like the video sort of. I've always been making like little shitty, stupid videos of my friends. I was very when I was in 7th grade, I got introduced to Freddie W. Do you guys
Yeah,
remember him?
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty wild.
Good
and
shit.
I watched his videos all the time, and I was very interested in that being something that I could do. And then yeah, I don't know. I also did like theater and shit in high school, so it was like sort of that sort of production aspect of like making some sort of production like a show.
Were
Plus
you in?
my interest in like video and shit.
Were you in musicals or anything
Yeah,
in theater?
I was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you always the lead?
I mean, there's a lot of talented people who went to my high school, but I don't know. I got a couple leads. Yeah, I played
Speaking-
Willard in Footloose. That was fun.
Ooh.
Speaking of
nice.
musicals,
Yeah.
Boston, what a show! What a performance! there
Oh,
by Ted.
karaoke.
We went out.
Oh yeah.
So we talked about this on the Raj podcast,
Right.
but obviously the order of these podcasts,
when
who
Raj
fucking
and,
knows
when
when
Raj
these are coming
and,
out?
and Fitz
Yeah.
sang "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Yeah.
But basically, we went to a restaurant, and it ended up being a karaoke bar as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Ted just put in a magnificent.
Oh yeah.
performance.
No, it was Zuckles and who else?
Jay.
Jay.
And, yeah, they sang "I Want It That Way," and I thought it'd be really funny if I went up and I sang the Weird Al Yankovic version of that song.
Yeah.
I bought on eBay, so I did.
It was
How'd it
good.
go?
Yeah, thank
It was
you.
very, very good.
Glorious.
I'm glad I was I for some reason what's weird about that karaoke machine was that the parts that you feel like you should sing that would make sense in a karaoke, it just doesn't give you the prompts for, and
Oh.
it'll like put like the backtrack for a lot of stuff, but then I don't know, it's like it's confusing. It'll try to feed you parts of the song that you don't remember, and then it won't show you stuff that you do. It's
Weird.
kind of pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Yeah.
Travis, what did you do before YouTube? Were you just in school? Did you have any
I
jobs?
was in school, yeah.
Did you work any jobs before YouTube?
No.
Nah, he's like me. He's never had a
Yeah.
job.
What about you?
It's
Ted?
epic.
What about you, Ted?
I worked at Staples.
Oh,
Ooh.
nice.
Yeah, I worked in Easy Tech and Staples, which was miserable. My manager, Fred. Hey, Fred, if you're watching
Hey,
this,
fuck you, Fred.
Fuck you, Fred.
Wait,
Oh my
fuck
God,
you,
he was
Fred.
the worst.
Fuck
he,
you,
he
Fred.
drove in. He drove in from like New Hampshire every day for some reason. Like,
Oh, what a
like why?
tryhard.
And that, which is like an hour and a half drive to get. I don't even know. And he would always.
He
he
would
always
drive
had,
an hour and a half to work at fucking Staples.
He had the worst.
Yeah, but he gets
breath
the title of manager
of
though.
any person I've ever met. He drank coffee religiously, but I also think he drank coffee and then didn't brush his teeth. So it was like this coffee, but also
Coffee
like
and
the smell
sugar
of
and-
trash at the
yeah.
dump.
That reminds
you
me of my
know.
math teacher. Same way.
Yeah,
Come
it
over to
it
lean over to
gross.
help
I
you,
could, like
just-
whenever he was like telling me I was doing something wrong, I could barely fucking talk to the guy because it was like SpongeBob and that when he was eating all the
When
Sundays.
he has-
Yeah, it's gross.
So I suspect that if you weren't doing YouTube, you would be trying to pursue something in the film industry.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually in LA in 2018. I was doing a internship. I interned at a a company called CSLA, Cinema Support LA, which is a camera rental house. So and also when I was at school up until this point, I work at like the camera rental zone at my school. So like I worked with like a lot of camera technology, like Red cameras.
Ooh,
and
what's the most
Arri.
expensive camera that you had there, or that you personally have like touched or used?
Oh, like the most expensive. Well, one of the things that I did at CSLA was that I would also do runs to other rental houses and stuff. And one of the things that I just had in my truck that they were having me move was a lens kit of Canon K35 lenses, which are they're vintage lenses. And they were. Have you ever seen the Amazon show The Handmaid's Tale? It's after the book. Well, basically they were shot to film that, and after that, the price of them went up a lot. And a kit of them of like 4 lenses or 4 or 5 lenses is worth $250,000.
Oh yeah, those cinema. That blows my mind. I was looking
Yeah.
at cameras recently to get an upgrade. You start looking at like the cinema cameras and the lenses and shit.
Yeah.
Like the prices blow my mind.
Yeah, it's like,
insane.
and they get more expensive when you get a full kit of them, because when you buy just the camera, what you're getting is just the brain.
Yeah.
But then you need the lens, you need the
Battery,
the backing
lens,
for
the
battery.
cards, all the shit for that
Yeah,
stuff.
you need the cards. It's you need the external monitors for them. You need it's a lot.
It's like
But
5,
it's
6
cool.
digits fast with that
Yeah,
shit.
it's
insane.
cool learning about it and stuff too. I think that like I would either be working as like doing directing stuff, or I'd probably work as like a camera assistant on set or something if I were to come out to LA.
Yeah, the only technical job I've ever had was photography.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of photography.
Yeah,
But
photography's sick.
the fucking camera world is insane.
Yeah, no, but
Money
it's
is
cool
crazy.
learning about it all, and I know like for my film, I'm working with my friend Katie. She's gonna be the director of photography for my short film, my thesis film, and she worked at rental houses too and stuff like Able City and stuff like that. And yeah, it's
I
cool.
want to chat about this short film, but first I want to ask you what you would be doing if you weren't doing YouTube. Like, let's say theoretically you could stop doing YouTube right now and go into the absolute job of your dreams. You don't need any qualifications. You don't need anything. You just get accepted instantly. What job would that be?
Travis?
Travis.
Oh boy, I really don't know. I've never thought about it. But I was in school for cybersecurity before I dropped out.
Really?
Oh, I
I
was
didn't know
gonna
that.
Really?
No, I didn't.
I was gonna say, like, what were you planning on doing if YouTube wasn't what happened? And it was
Well,
going to be
where I
cybersecurity.
lived, we lived next to a very high priority military zone. And so like on the base, you can get a really good job for like cybersecurity immediately. So I was just gonna do that and then go work on the base and stuff. And
Hell
then
yeah.
get a really good paid job after that.
Oh yeah,
That's sick. Wow.
that was a
very
good game plan.
Hell yeah, Travis. Pound it. Travis is gonna work as cybersecurity on a military base if all this shit falls through.
Yeah, but now you're just a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah, shame.
Cybersecurity
Fucking
job would have been pretty
YouTuber.
cool.
The fucking YouTuber
Would have been a
making
pretty
the
cool
videos
job,
online.
Travis. You would have had.
I would have had benefits, you know.
You would have
Yeah.
had benefits.
Oh.
You would have had health care.
Here's a
Yeah.
question for us YouTuber people. How many times has like a relative asked you, okay, so how
do you
much
make
money do you
money?"
make per subscriber?
Yeah,
Yeah,
many
That's
times.
the question I always get
Yeah.
asked, which is a very legitimate question, I've realized, because for most of these fucking boomers.
Yeah, subscriber
um,
means like
boomers.
subscribing to a
Yeah,
magazine.
it's-
You
Yeah,
pay.
that's. I feel like that's the boomer
Exactly.
term of subscriber. Is
So it
subscribing
makes more
to
sense
service.
for something like Twitch, where you actually subscribe and you pay
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of money to do that.
It's actually
But
weird when you think about it. YouTube's the only thing that says subscribe that you don't pay for.
Yeah,
like, online.
it is weird,
Hmm.
but and then you have to get it.
You have to explain to them for 40 minutes how it actually works and how
Yeah.
you get paid.
Yeah, the more my channel grows, the more the family parties become sort of like an explanation of how the entire online entertainment industry works.
It's every
Are you-
family gathering is. It's just explaining how your job works.
Yeah, exactly.
Are your
It's interesting.
family? Is your family supportive of
Oh
what
yeah,
you do?
they're my parents are super supportive. It's cool explaining it when there's family parties and explaining it to like my aunts and uncles about like how it works and stuff, because some of them don't even really know that I'm doing that, and then they get shown like some of these videos I have that have like hundreds of thousands of views, and they're like, wait, what? And then they're very interesting. Like in Thanksgiving, my godfather, he was very very interested in discovering all that, because he hadn't known about it before. But yeah. Oh, you'll fuck. Oh.
Oh fuck!
My godfather, he's such an interesting guy. He has the most ridiculous stories, but I'm just gonna say one thing that just to explain what he's like. One thing that he told me was that he went to Spain, and he came back. He went to Spain for a while, and he came back being fluent in Spanish. But one of the things that he told me about was that there was this one guy that he met in like France on the way that was like this professional chef, and he bought for $40 a giant block of hash, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would add it. They would sprinkle a little bit on their cigarettes before the smoking, and they would they basically had a shit ton of it. And he was telling me that he does not remember a 3-week period of time during the time that he was going from France to get to Spain.
Holy shit.
And he was like, when he got there, he was like a month and a half late to when he was actually supposed to be
Holy
there.
shit.
Yeah, he's got kind of like a crazy whole, he's
Europe's
ridiculous.
wild.
Yeah.
Europe's fucking crazy.
The last time we were in Spain, we hung out with a bunch of Bitcoin millionaires
Really?
Yeah,
well,
they did.
probably not anymore now.
who had
Yeah, not anymore.
Well, bruh.
they were just some of those people that when it was really cheap, they were like, I'm gonna sell my car and buy all of the Bitcoin.
Right.
And then they're worth like tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's always fun to think about, like, man, like because have you ever seen that video of that one guy who was buying? It was a very old video of Bitcoin, and he was demonstrating how to
It's like how to buy a pizza or some shit.
buy pizza with
Yeah,
like 4
yeah.
Bitcoin, which would have been
Oh,
at its height would have been an
Imagine
$80,000 pizza.
Imagine buying pizza with 4 Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Oh.
insane.
Oh, dude.
Shoulda,
Yeah.
coulda, woulda.
Dude, that's one happy pizza delivery guy.
Imagine
That's a
how many
good tip.
hard drives are out there with like Bitcoins that are like lost in a dumpster or something
I
because they threw it away
actually
not
didn't really
knowing.
think about that. Like, that's probably a pretty legit. Oh shit.
Sure, people are going to be like
Fuck.
scavenging through hard drives nowadays and like
Oh,
dumps and
dude.
checking
Yeah.
shit like that.
Cut
Goddamn.
that out of the podcast. We could capitalize on that.
Yeah. Now
Back
you
up
got
your
people-
wallets,
Let's
people.
go to the dump.
Back up
with the
your
metal
wallets.
detector.
Yeah,
find some hard
one person who
drives.
works at like any sort of electronic recycling plant or something like that. Yeah, goddamn.
speaking of like Spain and stuff, have you guys ever traveled outside of the country? We'll start with you.
Of course.
Once.
Yeah, you went to
Australia.
Oh, yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Australia.
Of course.
I've been to. There was in high school. There was like every 2 years the chorus. Like I was in the chorus. They would do like a choral trip
Oh.
where they would
choral.
go. We would go somewhere for every 2 years. It would be switch off between domestic and international. So in 2015, I went to Spain and France as part of the chorus
Oh.
trip, which
Hmm.
was cool. We went to Barcelona and Toulouse, France, which was very
Barcelona's
fun.
lovely.
Yeah, and then one time in high school, I went to China. Yeah.
Why'd you go to China?
Because I could. I saw a poster and it was like, "Wanna see a panda?" Which, by the way, I don't think we actually did see a panda, but it was like, oh, and you know what it was? One had a thing of a panda, and the other one was like, "Wanna see the Great Wall?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I want to see the fucking Great Wall." So I went to the info meeting, not knowing a lick of Mandarin, and I just kind of kept doing it. I just went. I had to fucking mow the lawn for like a summer and the entire fall after though to pay it off because it was like $3,000 to do the
Damn.
trip. Yeah, but it was cool. It was a very, very fun trip. I went to a bunch of cities in China and it was a very interesting experience.
I've
Yeah.
never been to China. I've actually never been to anywhere in Asia.
Yeah, now isn't a good time to go.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
What?
I'm thinking
No.
about going right
Yeah.
now.
Now's the perfect time.
I
Shit's
w-
cheap.
I
We're
wouldn't.
going to Wuhan.
Tickets are cheap.
Yeah, now's the perfect time.
Yeah, they'll put you in a building free of charge.
Lock you in there
Yeah.
too. You get extra free
Oh, and
days.
oh,
It's perfect.
you mean? Are you making reference to the building that collapsed?
No.
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 There was
What the
a bit-
fuck? That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
terrible. Why would you
a
say
fucking
that?
hospital that
Yeah.
collapsed, didn't it?
I thought you were making reference
No,
to that
no,
for a
no.
second.
I was just saying, like,
talking about the
I-
virus,
Oh, well,
not
he
the
was-
hospital.
I
That's
was
too
saying
far,
that they
bro.
would just
Fuck.
quarantine
Well, he was
you
like,
and
they'll
bolt
put you in a
into
building
building.
for free.
No, they'll just
And then the building
no,
would
because
collapse.
they bolt people into apartment buildings. to
Yeah, they'll weld
quarantine
the
them.
door shut, and you're like trapped in
Really?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll
They-
do that.
They give food?
I guess.
I don't know.
Did you?
Could be.
have
Did you hear what they did to the guy in North Korea that got the virus?
They just shot him, right?
Yeah, straight up, the first guy that got it, they shot him.
Have any of you seen the?
He could have recovered as well. Assholes. And they just,
That's
they-
the most
they just-
North
they just
Korean thing
increased
I
the
can
death
think
rate
of.
by 1.
That's true.
Because he technically died of coronavirus.
Well, I
think
that
he
he
died.
no,
I think he died.
I think that-
no,
Yeah,
no.
bullet to the
He
head. I don't know
died
about
because he
that.
had coronavirus.
No,
and
he
was
definitely
shot
died
for
from a
it.
bullet.
He died from a bullet.
No,
Yeah.
no, because he was only shot because he had the virus.
I know, but the bullet didn't expedite the process of which the virus killed him.
No,
it was
but
the bullet
what
that
I'm
killed him.
technically saying is that coronavirus led to his death.
Yeah, if he didn't get
If he
the
didn't get
virus,
coronavirus, he wouldn't
died.
have been shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're saying that
Should have got sick in the
It's
first
another
place. It was
the
his own fault, if you
coronavirus
ask
was
me.
complacent in his death.
Dude, it's a
It was
it's
a-
a
It was an
dubstep-
accomplice.
all I'm
An
saying is
accomplice,
that-
yeah.
All I'm saying is a dubstep for coronavirus because they just killed another person.
Have any of you seen those videos of people in China where I think it's either China or Japan, but if you aren't wearing a face mask, the police would genuinely like beat you.
Really?
Yeah, there's videos of people where the
fuck?
police would run
Wait,
up to them
hold
because they're
on.
not wearing a face mask and like
Just
tackle
start
them.
clubbing
Wait
the
a minute,
shit
Toby,
I
out
feel
of
like
Did
that
they
just
make face
increases the
masks
chances they're
illegal
going to get
in
a
Hong
virus
Kong?
from him.
Yeah,
If they
they
start
must have
hitting
been
him, they
done.
start
The co-
touching them.
Cops must be wearing.
Oh yeah, you heard about that, right? Because the protests in Hong Kong, they made face masks illegal so the cameras could see them, and then the virus comes and no one can put on face masks because it's illegal.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had no
man.
idea about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
China's a whole different situation.
Did the Hong Kong protests ever?
No,
just
it's
end?
still going.
It's
It's still going now,
it's
even with
still
the
going.
virus.
They're still fighting for their freedom, man.
Asia's a little fucked, eh?
Asian test server right now is
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
crazy.
Asia.
Yeah.
Asia.
Asia.
Euthanasia.
Time will tell if what South Korea and Italy is doing will actually contain the virus. Of
South Korea,
locking
their numbers
everything
have been going down. I've noticed over the last few days.
in
Dude,
in Italy.
Or South Korea.
South Korea is
Italy's
doing
fucked right now.
South Korea is doing a pretty good job of of reacting to it though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're doing well.
Yeah.
Germany also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
There
the
you
other one
go.
Singapore? That was
Anyways,
the other
US
country.
is
I
not doing
really-
a very good
I
job
really
right
feel
now.
like we should save the coronavirus talk for the Schlatcast because he's been
Oh, it
itching.
just came up in conversation.
But
alright?
he's been
Natural-
You gotta get those
natural
clickbait
progression.
titles
He's been
right there.
itching at the neck, and I don't want to blow it. Yeah,
He's
he's
at
off
the neck. He's
camera
been
itching.
getting a dry cough.
There he is.
Getting a little worried about him back there.
Oh, he's sniffing.
Sniffling.
Okay, are you allowed to talk about what your short film is going to be?
Yeah, it's
Exciting.
it's like the current premise right now is the short film about a guy who's miserable at his job, so he decides to order a hitman on himself, but he regrets it when he gets asked out on a date, so he has to like try
Wait,
to
by
kill
the
him.
hitman or?
No.
Oh, I was
Wait,
gonna say
so
that'd be a
he-
great plot twist.
By
He
someone
orders
that
a hitman on
by
himself.
someone that he's by
This summer.
like a love interest that he's been talking to. At the
That'd be
time.
the perfect
And-
romantic
yeah.
like comedy action movie. Think
Yeah,
about
and
it.
then in the end when he like kills the hitman, he like
Oh,
realizes.
spoilers!
Oh, what the fuck?
Okay, I
Well,
won't,
now you
I
can't
won't reveal.
upload
I
it.
won't reveal the end.
No,
yeah.
I'm not gonna watch it. So feel free.
You just said it, the ending.
Well, yeah, he does end up killing the hitman.
Okay,
but
just
then
keep
he
going,
realizes
keep going.
he's like good at it.
Oh, then he
Oh.
becomes the hitman.
Yeah,
and that
that's
becomes
sort
his
of
job.
That's sort of like the
Mm.
implication at the end is what is it's going. We just did. I was just in New York last weekend, and we were in New York casting.
Are you the hitman or are you directing?
I'm directing.
Okay.
We auditioned some hitmen and stuff. It was a bummer because one of the since what's tough about going to school for film is that you can only really shoot on the weekends. And it was a bummer because someone who came in, they were freaking awesome. They did a really, really good job. Time will tell if I'll actually be able to cast them, but it turned out that they were like a lead on this Broadway show that's going on right
Whoa.
now that I can't, just to
Yeah.
be for their privacy, I won't reveal what it is. But it was a bummer because they were so good, but they have to be in New York at after
Yeah.
6:30 p.m. on the weekdays or the weekends because of that. So it's tough, but
Schedule conflicts. Yeah.
yeah. So I got to go through all those auditions and figure that out.
What's casting like? Like what's that? whole
Basically
experience?
what we
You
did
get him on
was
a couch. You
we
get
d-
him naked.
we did it through a service, a casting service called Backstage, where you like kind of pay to put up a listing. And then
backstage, not backroom casting, right?
no,
Okay.
Backstage. And then what we did, what my producer had us do was because he had cast from Backstage before, I'd never done it before, and we basically got like 850 submissions of people auditioning for different parts because we put the synopsis and like sort of descriptions of the parts. And then we basically went through all those 800 people, looked at their reels, and then sorted them into like screw them, they suck, or yes, we could see them in this sort of part. And then what we did is we had them send in a video audition of a certain section of them reading for the character for a certain section of the script. And then from there, we sorted them into yeses. We want them to
Yeah,
actually
so
come
like
in for an
their
in-person
delivery-
audition.
So how long did that
essentially.
process take? Like starting with like 800 people, like
For the
process
first
of
one,
elimination.
it took like 7 hours to go through all the people.
Whoa.
And then the next one, it took like 2 hours to kind of decide who we wanted to come in for the in-person audition.
Mhm.
And then over the weekend, it was like to do the in-person auditions. It was like that took like 11 hours. Of
How
So
many?
how many
So
were
how many
there, like, in
roles
person?
were you doing?
We were casting for the main role. The main role character, his name is he goes by Charlie, and then there's the female supporting lead, and then there's the hitman, and then there is, oh my god, who's that? And then there's like this really annoying guy who works at the guy's workplace.
I
So
see.
we're casting for 4 people, and then all the other parts we can kind of fill in with people who
So
yeah.
what's the pool of the people that you chose for the 4?
The pool? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
like, how many
Like
show
the
up after
most
starting
the
with,
most
like 800,
the most
like,
amount. So
in
it was 800
person?
people.
We for some of the roles we probably were auditioning like at most like maybe 20 to 30 people per like for the big roles, and then there was like maybe like 10 people that we ended up with.
Okay,
those
so
smaller
not
roles.
too many.
Yeah, 'cause not as many people audition for the smaller.
It's just
roles.
reading through all the clips and going through the reels and
Yeah.
trying to find the
Some of
portfolio
them
of
you
every
can
person.
just tell, and it's like you kind of are. And what sucks is that there are a lot of people who are really good, but they might not exactly
They
be
don't fit
suited
the role.
for. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bummer when you come in and a lot of time they'll come in, they'll do their line, and then as a director, what I'll do is I'll say, you'll try to push them in a certain direction to see if first of all they can take direction well.
Yeah.
And if how they'll like actually interpret the part, and then you kind of give them in context for what you're looking for and to see. And then sometimes when someone does it for the first time, you can kind of tell that they're not even going to get it, so you tell them that that's all we'll need for you, but you can kind of see them kind of like deflate a little bit because they realize that when you don't ask for more from them, that's pretty much an indication that you aren't going to be choosing them. So it's kind of a
Yeah.
bummer to see that, and because I feel bad, but it's like one of those things where it's like we don't have that much time.
Sure.
So it's
It's
interesting.
it's a tough business.
Yeah,
entertainment.
yeah. Because there's only
a lot
so
of
many
rejection.
roles, and these actors are like auditioning for so many roles, and I swear it must be really tough being like a screen actor when you're not that big and you're trying to get on shoots. It's tough. A lot of respect I have for those people to but yeah.
Do you have to pay for it all out of pocket? Or do you
My
get a
idea
budget?
is if it turns out that I think I'm gonna put it on like YouTube, or we either are gonna put it on YouTube or Amazon Prime. And sort of the way I'm viewing it right now is that if I'm going to do some sort of GoFundMe to sort of pay it off, what I want to do is once I finish the film and I know that I'm confident enough in the work that I have, and I also have like evidence of the film actually being finished, I'll sort of like do like a tail end GoFundMe for it.
Just to kind of recoup.
Yeah,
loss.
exactly. And usually the way that these student films are done is through GoFundMe's. And like for like the actors, that's probably one of the more expensive parts because you have to. A lot of these people are in the Screen Actors Guild,
Yeah.
so they have certain minimums for how much they should get paid. And also a lot of time it's like it makes sense to be paying them that much too because a lot of time it's just like the minimum is like $10 an hour. It's like $150 a day or something like that, or like 12 or something dollars an hour.
It's
But
crazy.
yeah.
So with the student film, the college is covering expenses in terms of equipment and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's basically you have access to we have access to a lot of we have some red cameras recently at the college too, which is nice, like the cinema cameras, and they're available to you based on what class you're in. So in thesis you have the highest level cameras
Easy.
pretty much.
Cool.
So it's good that it offsets that cost. One of the issues that's coming with the coronavirus though is that if they close campus and this sort of equipment center is student run, we're not really sure what we'll be doing in terms of that. I might end up just having to increase our budget by like $4,000 so we can just afford to rent that. I might just be paying out of pocket to rent out the equipment.
Shit, dude.
But I'm getting this film done no matter what. So
Oh, hell
it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
So what? Like, how much time do you estimate it'll take to shoot?
We're aiming for 2 weekends, so like 6 days of shooting of like probably 12-hour shoots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how long is the film meant to be? 15, 30?
Yeah, like around 15 minutes.
Easy, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever be interested in pursuing more mainstream entertainment rather than YouTube?
That's kind of like been my question with this film, sort of, because I know that like you guys had recently had TMG on, and Noel Miller. He had basically he'd made a film, and I guess it took him a while for the whole post-production process, but he released it in end of December, and he posted it on his channel, and that kind of led me on the pathway of like maybe I should actually post this on my YouTube channel. But then there's also the option of we have an in with being able to get it on Amazon Prime. So I was thinking that it might look more legitimate if I were to put it on Prime,
You can
and
put
maybe
on
just
Prime,
put a trailer on
you can
my
put on
YouTube.
Prime, put a trailer on YouTube, and you
Yeah.
can wait until whatever contract is over with Prime, and then you can upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So, Sort of, yeah.
And Prime,
I do
Prime
have,
would pay you for it too, right?
yeah. Well, it's like the way it works is with Prime. It's like
It's like through streams.
It's how long you get a certain amount of money per minute being watched.
Oh.
So and that scales too. It's an interesting model for how it works. But yeah. To answer your question, I think that like. I want to continue doing this YouTube stuff as long as I can, really, but I also at the same time want to be making films and stuff on the side and build my resume
well,
in that
if you're
sense
doing your film and thesis, I don't think anyone will give you shit for not putting that on your channel.
Yeah.
Because as soon as
yeah.
you're done with the film, as soon as you're done with your 2 months, like you'll be back on YouTube regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Travis? Would you ever want to be on TV or in movies or anything?
I mean, it'd be cool, but I don't know if that's like what I would want to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think you would, like, mainstream fame, the whole
Right.
like culty status of, following all these actors and stuff? Do you think you guys would ever want to be in that position?
What do you mean? Can you elaborate on that?
Like to walk a red carpet and have an entourage and have a bunch of people take pictures of you.
paparazzi.
I
stuff
think
like
would only I would
No,
only
I don't
want
think
that.
so.
I don't think anybody wants that.
I think I would only want that if that was the result of being able to make some fucking awesome work.
You'd want that as the result of hard work.
Yeah,
Well, sure,
but I
I'm sure
wouldn't want it.
anyone
I
would.
wouldn't want it to be some sort of like Kardashian, like you're famous because of.
You're famous
scandals or
because you're
something.
famous, kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that, and I'd rather have that sort of attention for like the work I'm making rather.
Would
than,
you
Yeah.
want that attention? Like, if you had
I
the
mean,
choice to,
That would mean that I think there's sort of pressure that comes with that, and then there's also like it could either be that's what's tough about making this film is that I have so much attention already. So making this film, it's not really the same as like anyone else who's releasing like a student like film right now at my school.
There's
because
like
they
an
don't have-
expectation for you.
Yeah, there's
Got
like
a
a
little bit
higher
extra pressure
expectation of me,
behind
which is kind of nerve wracking. But so I would rather have it be I have that attention because the work I have made is enough to warrant that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Deserved.
interesting.
Yeah.
Travis, what's your favorite animal? Is it a dog or a monkey?
Honestly, monkey though.
Monkey though?
Yeah.
You say monkey over
Monkey
dog because
though.
because
For
your AVI on Twitter, your thing is usually like a little Shiba Inu, right? But it's
Where did that start?
also a little
Where
monkey.
that start is because it's based off of my early videos because I had every single one
Dog.
of the
Yeah.
clip art type videos at the beginning had the same like little picture of the angry dog.
Okay,
So that's where it came from. Yeah.
interesting.
And what about the monkey?
I don't know. I just thought it was.
I just like monkeys.
Monkeys are
Yeah.
kind of
We
funny,
pimp
though.
chimpin'.
What's your favorite movie, Travis?
Movie?
Yeah. Do you have one, or like a few?
I don't know why, but like one that sticks out in my head a lot is Pacific Rim. I think it wasn't because of the movie, but because of like the situation I saw. If that makes any sense.
I'm a big Wes Anderson fan.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson's cool.
What do you have like a top 5? Like
I
being
really
someone in that industry, do you have something that you
really
really
like,
wish more people watched?
I really like Edgar Wright. I think he's sick. Have you ever seen the what? Oh, I thought you were yawning, but I thought you were mad.
I was yawning.
Oh, okay. There's like this set of 3 films he made called like the Corn Yellow or something, like the 3 flavors something. I forget what
Okay.
the movie, but it's basically like Hot Fuzz, The End of the World.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I just love the way that he like sort of uses the framing and stuff, and the way that he blocks his scenes and stuff. I think the comedy comes out of that in a really cool way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I enjoy his work and stuff like that.
Nolan, Christopher Nolan,
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
What's your favorite movie?
Interstellar.
Interstellar's
about
cool.
you?
Interstellar.
That's my
Yes.
friend Tucker's favorite film.
I don't
Fuck
have
yeah,
a favorite
shout out to
movie.
Tucker.
You have a
Yeah.
favorite movie?
Would be a favorite. I mean, there's a bunch of good movies. It's hard to pick out like which one would be like favorite of all time.
Oh.
Not like
What
a
about,
big
like,
enough.
a
You want to hear
good-
something
A
funny?
good couple.
It's hard to say.
You
I'm
wanna
not
hear-
big
Toy
enough of a
Story
movie
1, 2,
critic.
3,
Here's
and
a
4.
here's a funny thing that happened with that regarding that question. When I first got out to LA for my semester out here, I didn't have an internship.
Just wait for the helicopter to go past. All right, carry on.
Okay. So when I was first in LA, I didn't have an internship yet, and they were like, you're gonna get an internship. You just got to do some interviews and stuff. So one of the places that I interviewed for was Blumhouse, and they did Jordan Peele's Get Out. They do a bunch of like horror flicks and stuff like that. and I guess it was for some sort of like producer under a producer, that sort of vein of internship work, like doing like assistant stuff or something like that.
Getting coffee.
But I fucked up that interview so bad.
What'd you
know
do?
why? They asked me what my favorite movie is. Blumhouse, by the way. They're a horror movie production company. Guess what movie I said that my favorite movie was? Because I had no idea what to say.
What?
Elf. I said that my favorite movie was Elf, the Will Ferrell movie where he is a fucking.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. No matter who you are, Squarespace can help build a website that works for you. Say you're a business owner who wants
chicken nuggets.
Yeah, exactly. It was and after I got here, I was like, why did I say that?
Ted, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. No,
yeah,
no.
It was
no,
rough.
no.
It was rough.
What do you think of the horror industry? There's
Pretty
a lot
scary,
of like
isn't it?
very lazy movies in there.
Oh, you mean like stuff like made by like Asylum?
Horror?
I don't know, I just feel-
horror.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. I just feel like a lot of the horror genre is movies that are entertaining, but not for a good reason.
Like the shock value?
Yeah,
You mean?
Yeah.
very lazy.
It depends. It depends how you direct it. There are some really good
Yeah, there
horror
are.
movies that fuck with you. Psychological horror is the best.
Yeah, I think
Horror-
when it's just sort of the jump scare stuff, it's basically just like a glorified thriller. I think that when you I don't know, A24 has been doing A24 and Blumhouse both do a very, very good job of making horror films, though. I think.
I really like
I think
horror movies.
someone should
Same.
make a horror film with the expectation that it's not a horror film at all.
Oh.
So people should advertise it as a rom-com or something like that. But just as the
Oh.
movie keeps going, it gets
It's
more and
very
more
interesting,
fucked up
actually.
and more, and it just doesn't. Like
Yeah.
people have no idea,
Yeah.
and it should be like that. Because when you subvert expectations, that's when you can really fuck with people
Yeah.
psychologically.
But
There's
some
a-
They have
horror-
no idea they're
There's
in
a new
for it.
movie coming out that's called The Invisible Man. Have you seen that?
I've seen that
It's-
advertised
I mean,
everywhere.
It seems like some sort of anecdote towards like dealing with coming out of an abusive relationship or dealing with a previous abusive partner, which I think is a really, really interesting way when you have an abusive person who gains the ability to be fucking invisible and stalks the person that they're obsessed with. That's scary.
It's very
and I think
scary.
that hits. I think especially sort of in today's climate, that hits a note with a lot of people in when we're as a society we're sort of addressing those issues that are pretty prevalent. So I think that in terms of a concept and the execution of it, I think that's a really interesting idea.
Really good idea.
Yeah.
Travis, what's your favorite color?
What's up with these easy questions for me, Swagger?
Travis, what's a secret that
A
you
secret?
have
What's your
that you
darkest
haven't
secret?
told
Yeah.
anybody? What's like a fun fact that nobody knows?
If I say it, then everyone will know.
A fun fact that everyone doesn't know that you want them to know. That maybe you haven't said.
I always put my left shoe on first
Why your left
Really?
shoe?
Weird.
because I'm right-handed.
Here's a question for you, Travis. How many months does it take until you stop tying your shoes and you start shoving your foot into this shoe?
First day.
Yeah, me
Really?
first. day as well.
First day, really? You don't care about the crispness? No, I'm not saying Christmas. Crispness of it for very long.
No, first day.
I'm on the
yeah.
same page.
Really?
All my
Yeah.
shoes are in a
I've
perpetual
never
state
tied
of
them.
tie.
The back of these shoes are like the back of them are totally fucking.
I feel like that's a
That's
style
why I like
though,
the
for some of the
Yeezys.
shoes.
The
just
Yeezy
slipping them
shoes
on,
so
you know?
comfy.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
Like,
Yeah, those
yeah,
are- those
'cause
are
literally
peak
me and
slip-on
Travis have
shoes.
The same.
Yeah.
Are you
They're
wearing
built
yours?
for comfort.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
that is true. With Yeezys,
Should I get a pair of Yeezys? I've
Yes,
heard that they're
dude, they're
pretty
so worth it.
expensive.
Honestly,
they're very comfy though.
They're
apparently.
expensive but
How
durable.
much do they
and
cost?
They're like
Depends
$600
what size your
bucks.
shoe is.
$600.
For a
Oh,
large-
no,
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 he's
no.
massive foot,
Oh,
so it's
you're
gonna be like
fucked.
super
it
expensive.
You're actually
depends.
fucked.
There's some that are cheaper as well.
You got
but
big old feet. What's your shoe size?
I'm a fucking 13.
Fucking
Yeah,
clown
it's
shoe
so
ass looking
big.
boy over here.
Jeez.
I'm
But
sorry.
Yeezys, I feel like you could take the laces out of them and they would still be as tight.
What? What are you talking about?
You genuinely just slip into them.
Weird.
Yeah.
I mean, these shoes I paid $60 for, and goddamn, I might just order another pair of these same shoes and just because I don't.
Do it. Be smart.
They're a good silhouette.
Yeah, I mean
They're a very iconic silhouette.
Yeah, I like them. They're the Continentals, Adidas Continentals, and the Stan Smiths are very comfortable too. But they sort of start. They're at this point they're not as comfortable anymore because I've just worn them in.
Yeah.
But
But-
yeah.
To answer your
I like
question,
that.
Ted, I think what I have, my shoelace ties right now, I think are the same ones I tied when I first got them. I just
Really?
tighten them up.
Yeah,
a little more.
yeah.
Where did you get them? Did you get those in Australia?
Yep.
Yep.
Jeez.
Okay,
Fucking
Travis,
Australian.
if you weren't making gaming content, what would you be making?
Content.
Yeah, if you were still making content, but someone was like, you're not allowed to make any gaming content anymore, what would you do?
I don't know, man. That's
you
a hard
think-
question.
Do you think you would want to move into IRL at any point? Like for your own
for
content?
sure.
Yeah. What do you think that would look like? Or have you just not
I
really given
feel
it
like
any
it'd be
thought?
really funny if I did interview stuff. Like if
Oh,
I interviewed
it'd
people on
be
the streets
great.
and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be very
Yeah.
funny.
I like doing that shit. It's fun. It's hard
Yeah.
though. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like even for me, like I'm like an overwhelmingly extrovert
Mhm.
most of the time, and like I still sort of have to hype myself up to go up to people in a milkman costume and fucking talk to them.
I think
Mm.
you doing interviews would be, I think people would enjoy it. And I also think that, I mean, I don't know if you like it when people call you cute or not, but, you know, obviously you kind of had that reputation for being
The awkward childlike aspect. to
kind of
it.
like fun and cute. And I think people would like that if you were interviewing randoms on the street. They'd be like,
What if
oh,
you
this-
went? What if
know.
you
Oh,
went to
that'd
like
be
a
good.
science convention and you interviewed people on really complicated subjects,
Oh,
but
yeah.
asked the dumbest
Yeah, the
questions of
dumbest
them?
Go to the
Shit.
ones where they have like, remember in school you made like the 3-panel boards or whatever.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
like
yeah,
go
like
up to them and be
science.
very
Why is-
interested.
You go,
Yeah.
Why is the sky blue?
and then they give a really complicated answer, and then you're just like,
Why do your
But
clothes
why?
get darker when you're wet?
Interesting.
and you keep asking just stupid stuff like, but why? And then
Yeah,
I
just
think that'd
keep
be really
just keep like being like genuine and like asking deeper and deeper into the science, and then just try to get to the point where they just go, I don't know, fucking guide.
And they just get frustrated and they don't
And
want
then
to
you
talk
turn
to
to the
me
camera
anymore.
and you go, guys, Christianity 1, atheism 0.
Huh?
Nothing.
Exactly.
I think like with the
What?
state of YouTube right now, diversifying your content is something that's like a prime part of staying like sustainable on YouTube.
That's
yeah, like
kinda
relevant
sure.
long term.
That's kind of how I
to be
went
diverse.
into the way that I wanted to do my channel, because if you like look at my channel, I don't usually do the same type of video.
Mm.
Like I have like, well, it's more like I have like a set of like 5 or 6 types of videos I do, and I just rotate through them all the time. And I don't really, and since I kind of set that, I hope that since I set that precedent, that I just kind of do whatever the fuck I
Yeah.
want, that people will just sort of follow my channel for just kind of like, I guess, my sense of humor
Yeah.
or something like that.
Do you
It's-
find that there are certain types of videos on your channel that always do better than others?
I'm not even sure, since I'm in like a weird sort of growth phase. So things that do well, I had no idea would really do well. Like recently, I made this video about me and my roommate just trying cereal, and that video had the
I watched
fastest
that.
velocity of any video I've ever
Really?
made. And it was, and as I was editing the video, I was like, man, this is gonna fucking suck. But it was because I don't know. I felt. It felt like it was like a lazy video, but then I had to go in because we basically just went in and we tried cereals, and I did the research of finding what cereals were the worst, but like it originally it felt lazy when I hadn't gone in and done all the editing and work there. But I don't know. I can't really tell at this point. I
Well-
haven't done a cooking video in a while, so that might be my most recent cooking video has like just recently passed like 200K views, and it
Nice.
didn't do that. Well, it's like not as good.
Still
It
pretty
didn't
good.
do as well.
It's
So
still 200,000 people.
yeah.
That is true. That is true. It's weird. That's another thing.
For doing like a one-off
The-
video.
The more you
I
get,
grow,
the more
my new
desensitized.
standards are, and
Yeah.
and it's a weird sort of mindset shift that happens where it's like, oh, it's only 200,000 views, and I'm just like, well, that is also 200,000 people. I don't think there's many
Yeah.
stadiums that have that many people in it.
Sometimes I catch myself. Like I released this VR chat video, and it got like 900K views in like 7 days, and I was
Yeah.
like devastated. I was like, oh, it didn't break a mil in 3 days. It's so fucking weird.
It is
Yeah,
a
and you
weird.
catch
and you,
yourself
yeah,
and you
do have
realize
to
how
catch yourself and
ridiculous,
be like,
how
okay,
ridiculous it is.
Yeah, and still kind of reassure. I'm.
It's like,
you know,
oh, I
doing
only
the best
got
you
I only got
can,
I only got 2,000 subs today. It's
Yeah.
usually 5. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
weird.
retarded.
It's a weird situation, and I think the way that I sort of what I attribute that to is sort of I think anyone no matter what situation you're in, you sort of just adapt. People are really easy at adapting to the situations they're in and it becoming the norm. So it's like, I remember when I was talking to some of my friends who do YouTube and like how many views they got and how often they got like stopped in conventions and people were like wanted to meet them and stuff. I thought it was like very, very crazy to see how often that would happen, and they were generally chill about it. And what I realized is that when you get to that point, it sort of becomes the norm. You're not necessarily not grateful at all for it. It's just sort of you can't live your entire life being like, this is crazy, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of have to get to a point where it becomes the norm and that sort of shifts to becoming a part of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. But it's kind of what happens with everyone, I guess, on YouTube.
Yeah. It's just something that you'd never, I don't think, no matter how many times people say it from the outside, you will never understand it until it actually happens to you fully, like at a full level.
It's the same.
Very weird.
It's like the whole thing with money, where people are always like, once you start making more money, you always want to make more money.
Yeah.
And it's like no one really gets to a point on YouTube where they get like 100,000 subs and they're like, cool, I don't need to grow anymore.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think, and that kind of also relates to like when anyone who has like an issue or is coming to their audience and saying, I have an issue, I need to take a break, or this is something I'm struggling with. There's a lot of people who will respond and say, you can't have these issues because you make this much money, or you are this wealthy, or whatever. And I recently saw a video from Casey Neistat that he put a very, very good perspective on it, where it was that when you don't have as much money in your life, your main problems that could be solved in that moment are the ones that are pertaining to money, such as paying rent, being able to buy groceries, stuff like that. And that's stuff that affects like a lot of like the average American, like, average American can't afford like a $500, charge out of nowhere. But the thing is, when you sort of get to the point where you are financially stable, the problems then that's just you going up sort of like the Maslow's hierarchy stuff, where it's like the new issues that are the most present to you.
It's not
are stuff
food,
like,
shelter, or anything.
they're sort of like
your
interpersonal
relationships,
your personal mental health, and and the thing is about like your physical health and stuff, like you being safe and in an environment where you can be healthy. Those are very important, but that's just one component out of stuff like social health. You've got your mental health, you've got your like spiritual health and stuff. Yeah. So it's like it's all just one. They all are equally important. It's just that I think as a group, we kind of are like, it's really easy to criticize people for having issues other than what is the most common thing.
I feel like it's also it kind of looks like an easy job from the outside. Like you'll see like someone that does something like physically hard, like something like underwater welding, where it makes a fuck ton of money, but you also know it's physically dangerous. But you also don't see like some jobs like being a YouTuber or something like that, where they're like, oh, well, that's easy, just sits there all day, but they don't know.
Shoot balls into a hoop, why do you get $1 million a game?
Yeah, but they had to work so hard to get to that
exactly.
point.
Yeah, there's a lot of other shit behind the scenes.
There's a lot of reasons why.
Yeah, like one of my videos on its own, it takes like if I'm just editing it myself, it takes me like almost a full 24 hours to finish.
Yeah, dude, 20, 40 hours of video is pretty standard.
Yeah,
the people that are editing themselves, a lot of people that say, oh, you guys make money playing video games. No, I don't. I make money editing.
Yeah, working.
Yeah. You know, it's you guys, being a YouTuber isn't all glam. It's what's shown on videos and stuff.
And that's not to say that it's not really, really cool though.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's really, really cool.
Total dream,
it's just
like,
that
job.
It's just that it's not all, it's not like you're doing nothing. Unless you have a team of editors working for you.
I made $8,000 this month from home. See how?
Drop shipping.
Yeah, so you're saying like getting the footage is like step one.
Yeah. There's getting the footage, then there's sitting down and cutting it, and then there's editing it, there's doing your subtitles, and you have to be funny. The video has to be entertaining.
Yeah,
there's
and then
so
the whole
much that
time,
goes into
the
it.
whole time too, you're totally just doubting yourself along the way.
Yeah,
too.
and you're like, this video sucks, and people are gonna hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mental toll, and it's also a lot of the work can be very boring. If you're sitting there for 16 hours subtitling an entire manuscript of the fucking video, then you're gonna want to, you're just gonna want to be done with it.
Right.
It's just not. You're not just playing a game and
I think
getting
that's why
a paycheck.
burnout happens a lot. Is that
100%.
whole burnout
Yeah.
issue. Although part of it, I think, is also like when there's such a high when you're in the growth period too. When it's like like getting all of these views.
Well, that's the gratification.
Yeah.
Sit there F5 in the page, watching like the stats go up and shit.
F5 on the page. Is
like
that just
refresh.
Oh, that's
refresh.
refresh.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Alright,
didn't
if you don't know that.
Why did I sort of not know what refresh button on?
Dude.
Yo, the comments are gonna be like, "Ted's stupid."
Yeah, you
Stupid,
should
bro.
Just alt F4 and end the podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna F5 this podcast.
Before we end the podcast, is there anything that you guys wanted to bring up at all?
Bring up,
Yeah.
such as just like.
Whatever you want. You can bring up whatever you want before we stop.
I would like Travis to give a taste of what an interview with him would be like. Just
interview him real quick. Interview him.
Yeah, interview.
Come on,
do it.
Do a little interview. Be the host.
Interview
Talk to the camera. Do the thing.
I've never
Don't
done
put
one
the
of these
boy on the
before.
spot.
I couldn't put you on the spot.
Come on, Travis, you got this. I believe in you, buddy.
You got it, Travis. Ask an easy question.
Ask him his favorite color.
So swagger.
Yes, Travis?
Alrighty, thanks for coming by to the Misfits podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Is there anything you guys want to bring up at the end?
I don't know. Subscribe to Travis's channel. He makes good gaming videos.
It's Traves,
Come over to my channel if you want something that's like not gaming videos and is me fucking around and making fun of movies and people and myself.
And also check out Lunch Club on YouTube.
Yeah,
Lunch
check out our
Club.
Lunch Club. We recently made a. Well, this will probably be different by the time this podcast goes up, but we recently released a video of us making Minecraft recipes from scratch, and it's a very horrifying video, and
It's
you
very
should watch.
good. Very fun.
Yeah.
You guys ate a lot of butter.
Yes, I did. Yeah, we did. It was. It's just chaos in the kitchen. That's my brand.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you to Travis and Ted for coming.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having us on.
we'll see you guys next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Insists he's a sexpert, but if there's a degree on his wall, I haven't seen it. Also, this show isn't for kids, which I mention only so the babies out there will know how cool they are for listening. What's up, you cool baby?
If you change your mind, take a chance. I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free.
He had a baby Cro-Magnon brain. Baby brains and Cro-Magnon brains are basically the same thing. But it is our birthday. We're celebrating the only way we know how, by taking your ignorance of certain topics, turning it alchemy-like into wisdom. This is My Brother, and Me. It's an advice show for the modern era. Let's just get right into it. I want to cut through the red tape, cut through all the business, and just really get down into this deep. So let's start off with an email. It says, I have a cat who is generally a bit standoffish. She doesn't snuggle, doesn't much like being picked up. The only time she wants to get on my lap is when I'm in the bathroom, tending to secondary biological output. I have always enjoyed her company as an alternative to reading or staring blankly at a wall. My husband, however, thinks the whole thing is weird, that I should leave the door shut, ignore her plaintive meows, and get on with my business myself. She seems so sad when I don't let her in, though. Please give me some guidance here.
Who's that from?
That's from Poop Lap.
Sorry, can you slow it down a bit?
Just it's Poop Lap. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine what the sad mewing of a cat sounds like when it's behind the door of a bathroom where you are defecating. And that cat all it wants is to just come in and just chill with you while you do your business. I'm trying to imagine what that sounds like.
I'll tell you, Griffin, it sounds exactly like Purple Rain.
I'm trying to make a concerted effort here to not take this in the scatological territory. So I'm going to talk about the ethics of what's happening here.
Okay.
In this modern society, in the society in which we live, we are so connected. You know, every moment you're on the book, you're on the FB, you're on the Google, you're Googling, you're tweeting, Twitter, on all the services. Formspring. Tumbling. You're on the tumbling. You're on the tambling. You're on the
crumping.
You're crumping. It's just so many different outlets for people to stay connected with you. The B room is really the one time of the day when you get to just be you. That's for nobody else. Not for your cat. Not for Facebook.
What you're ignoring though is that your cat's not on Twitter. Your cat's not on Facebook.
That you know
it's
of.
not
That you know
tumbling.
That you know
it's
of.
not smanging. I'm pretty sure no cats are on my Facebook friends.
I see a lot of people who
I
use
actually
their,
have a couple.
Yeah, I have people who use their cats as their pictures. Which, by the way, that's not you. Stop lying. Get your baby off there too while we're at it. It's not you. Your baby is not you. You are you. Don't confuse
Also,
me.
pictures of you holding other people's babies, not cool.
Not
it's
cool.
confusing.
Get off. You're putting your baby on the grid already. It's just a baby's on the grid. I think that I have to be pretty steadfast in this, Griffin. I understand what you're saying, but it's about your mental state. It's not about your cat can't track you on Twitter, so now you're gonna let it be in the bathroom with you.
But the thing is, like, it sounds like it's good for her mental state. She enjoys the cat's company while she's making business.
What does it say about the cat's relationship? Like, the only time she likes to be with you...
Oh, the cat's a fucking freak. Like, don't get me wrong.
So we can all agree on that.
Okay, the cat's, like, dirty, right? Like
that cat is a dirty-ass cat. That cat is some sort of reincarnated scat pervert. Like, fuck that cat. Your cat's a freak.
Your cat's a pervert.
Your cat is a pervert. But, I mean, if you enjoy her company, then more power to you. I say, poop away, cat on lap.
I hate it when
I don't think it's okay. Let's take a vote. Is it okay?
It's not.
It's not okay.
Is November 8th the best day of the year? Yes. Okay. Majority rules. It's the best. I work at the most monotonous job ever, and your podcast brightens my Mondays. I was wondering if you could recommend any other podcasts or activities to make my work days more exciting. Thanks.
Are we gonna recommend any competitors? Get real,
right.
Formspring.
Nice try. Sorry,
It'd be
Farmer.
like, does McDonald's talk about how tasty Whoppers are? Never.
Probably do.
Probably.
No.
Probably in secret at meetings.
Our burgers are whack. You know who's got those dope burgers? Don't tell anybody. BK and DQ.
Me and all my billionaire buddies, we always like to go to just hit the BK at the late night. You gotta get that BK.
Our chicken select strips are bullshit.
You get that strip at BK, they got that shit in the shape of a crown. First off, maybe go get some McDonald's and Burger King. That's fun food, fun to eat, and that can really help to make the days pass.
Just eating fast food?
Just eating fast food. Just kill the lonely times, kill the sad times with the taste of salt and fat. Oh boy, now I'm hungry. Oops. You did it again, McDonald's advertisers.
I think whatever recommendations we could give you depends entirely on what your job is. Because if you're a surgeon, you need to fucking look sharp. You need to put down the iPod.
Was that a pun?
Oh, it didn't mean it to be, but I'll take it. You need to not be distracted when you're cutting into humans. If you, I don't know, scan medical documents into a computer for 8 hours a day, then you're gonna need some help, some assistance.
Yeah.
My suggestion, a clipboard. I know it seems, but it'll let you get away with literally anything. You can put Sudoku on there. You can put some crossword on there, or just carry it around so no one will speak to you.
How did you just pronounce the word Sudoku?
I think I said Sudoku.
Sudoku. No, Griffin, you're confused. Sudoku is that new joint. It's
have you guys played Sadaka?
Have you played Neil Sedaka?
I was actually thinking of the gas station Sunoco.
Did you get that new John Cicada record? Wow. And the game included inside the CD notes? Really fun. We play it all day. Sudoku is that new Sudoku where it makes a picture at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cards bounce around the screen.
An erotic picture. Like a sexy picture.
Sudoku.
It kind of looks like a boob made of blocks.
We have given this person zero advice.
Okay, we got to get serious. I think the best thing to do is to you've got to shut your brain off and let it take you to another faraway place. Like if you can't do something obvious like read or ride a moped or something when nobody's there, you got to take your mind and let it take you on a journey. Mm-hmm. No one is your boss in your head at all.
And another fun game is to play little games with yourself, like how many times can I slip this word into a conversation before someone notices? And how often can I mispronounce words like Sudoku until someone notices?
See how long it takes you. Walk around all day next Monday and walk around saying Sodomkum and wait till someone corrects you.
Now, Travis, I have to ask, do you play that game when you're doing the podcast with us? Because you did just say Sudoku in a strange manner.
Of course not, Griffin.
I'm going to be on the lookout now. Let's do a Yahoo answer.
Yeah, that would be great.
This one was sent in by Art Santana.
That's probably his real name, but wow, it's a good name.
Yeah.
God, that's awesome.
Have you guys noticed how many people with like totally fresh names listen to our podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like Max Jackman.
Like Max Jackman. It's really flattering.
Anaphylaxis.
Anyway, this Yahoo answer is from Thomas Schlitcher.
What?
Almost certain I said that wrong.
Not a good name.
Yeah, that's a bad name, but he doesn't listen to the show, so we're fine. He asks, how do I tell my mom, dad, friends, etc. that I am a furry? I have a huge problem. I'm 13 and furry. My girlfriend is also 13 and furry, but I told my mom about it, and she told me that furry fandom is one of the, quote, most disgusting and horrific things she has ever heard, end quote. My dad's reaction was almost the same, but he took it better. Now, though, I don't know what to do. Please help. What do you think that dad's reaction was like? Hey, son,
you're what?
This isn't my jam, but I think your mother really went overboard with her reaction to this news.
So, yeah,
Some money? Or?
I don't understand what all the hubbub is about. He's just furry, like he's going through puberty and he's starting to get hair in weird places.
Well,
and that's normal. That happens to the best of us.
I'm almost certain he means he wants to dress up like a raccoon and bone down.
Here's what's troubling.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's what the furry means.
Wait, not like puberty?
No, not like.
I feel like we covered this on last week's show that animals are fucking sexy, yo. They're getting sexier every year, and he's just trying to capitalize on that movement by, dressing himself in furs and pelts.
Yeah, and get just try to capture that sex wave. You mean before it passes all of us by?
If I were to give this kid some real advice, which I'm not, because yuck, you just got to wait it out, because pretty soon furries are going to be the new vampires.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is this about a trend for you? Or, hey, by the way, the odds against you being a 13-year-old person who likes to dress like a raccoon and have sex, meeting, falling in love with a person, and then discovering that they too enjoy that. It doesn't happen.
Fucking astronomical.
Also, marry her.
He met her on a furry website, and they hooked up on the forums.
What?
Don't
wait.
Just don't.
What?
Like forums, but with fur. Like
forums. I like it. I like it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start calling ours
working on that for a week and a half.
Forums.
Have you guys? Whenever I read a question like this that has anything to do with the furry community, I think that I'm an incredibly open-minded person. I'm colorblind, I'm age blind, I'm gender blind. I don't know. My patience wears kind of thin with furries. I'm not one to hate on any particular group of people because of whatever sexual stuff they're into. And I'll defend those people and their right to do that, but I just don't have that for furries.
What the thing is, what you are seeing right now is this. The furries, the most valuable service that furry provides us is they let you see inside the head of like a conservative Republican minister, and like the way he feels about pretty much everybody outside of his immediate family is the way you feel about furries. So like, and Furbies, but mainly furries.
I think this falls under a game I like to play called Daddy, How Did You Meet Mommy? And I think any story that says, I looked across the conference hall and saw the sexiest raccoon I've ever seen.
I was going to say raccoon, too.
It's all about raccoons, yeah. I think it's because you don't see raccoons a lot in your day-to-day, so you don't have a lot of personal connection to them. But so they're, like, exotic and sexy, but...
Yeah. Let me ask you guys...
I looked across the room and saw the sexiest marmot I've ever seen.
No, that doesn't work. Yeah, all right, in 30 years...
Okay.
After the furry civil rights movement... am I going to be, like, the bigot?
Like, the back against the wall? Like, I'm sorry, I don't care how far society has come. I refuse to recognize the rights of furries.
Ever be okay with this. There's a 0% chance of me ever being cool with
I would, at this point, endorse state-mandated castration for all furries. How does that taste? What's up? I'm raising the stakes on our comedy program to endorse the castration of human beings.
Okay, let's get
on it, politicians.
Let's get deeper. Let's inception what you just said.
Okay.
Is that a punitive measure, or is that more of a population control? Like, you don't want them passing the furry gene, that aberration onto their children.
It is
I suggest spokesman Bob Barker.
It is... It's absolutely both. It works both ways.
Okay, now let's keep one more level.
Okay.
If two people dressed up as raccoons fuck, what are the odds that they'll give birth to a raccoon?
Oh my God. This is the kind of future that I'm protecting you and yours against. My bigger fear is like a half man, half raccoon, the man-coon, if you will. That's really terrifying. And it's totally possible. Ask any scientist. My wife's a doctor. I'll ask her. She says yes.
Look at Steve Buscemi. Those big rings around his eyes.
Had to come somewhere. What's up, Mancoon Buscemi? Castrated also. Sorry. Here's a bigger question. I think you get into problem logistics. What's the most efficient way to do it? I would suggest that all furry costumes would come, like, legally would have to come with a small patch of genital burning cream that when you put the costume on, it would just singe them away like a hair that got too close to a campfire. That's what I would like to see happen.
Final question on this subject. Do you think furries watch Space Jam and just jerk it so right?
Just get that good, clean jerk going. Probably.
A lot of anthropomorphic animals in that one.
Problematically, though, there's also a lot of sports, which they are not big on, I've heard.
Nope.
You don't know that.
Unless they're mascots.
Yeah. They like that. They don't see why the basketball has to keep interrupting the mascot show made just for them. Boy. You know what else they can't watch? Banana Splits. They love that jam.
HR Puff and stuff is really disturbing for them.
Yeah, I saw a local furry get so sexually crazed that he pushed Beeper down to the ground and just ran away with him.
Just got on it, which is weird because Beeper's not an animal by any.
He's anthropomorphized nightmares. Like that's something. True. It's a furry costume. Those people don't care. They'll F anything.
They just want something with fur.
They just want something with fur.
Don't let them near a shag carpet. Yeah, they'll just work it.
Watch your back, Tom Selleck. Hey, 3 of me bros. I like it. I work in retail, and I'm next in line to be manager. My boss always complains about hating his job, but he just won't leave. How can I get him to quit? I want a promotion. Griffin, you know what it's time for? Highlander! What's up?
You gotta...
There can be only one manager of this Denny's. What?
Don't cut off his head. Whatever you do, that's going to be more trouble than you want.
I rule the
gap! It will be pretty cool when lightning strikes you in the gap.
Yeah.
Filling you with
I've
powers.
folded my last sweater! Now I make the schedules!
Here we are.
Born to be kings of this gap that I now can run.
You should quit.
Wait, how could he quit? He just killed his manager.
Before you kill your manager, and
Okay.
by before I mean don't do that.
Well, don't do it and quit. That defeats the whole purpose.
I think you should just quit.
Wait, why?
It's retail blows.
It just doesn't sound like it's right for you.
I think we've all worked our fair share of retail jobs, and I've had a manager or two that I would like to cut their head off.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
I mean, I've only worked one, but that was a pretty pleasant experience.
If you are like 100% sure,
You got mugged, Griffin. You got robbed.
I
What are
did
you
get
talking
robbed,
about?
but
You
that
got
was
robbed at gunpoint.
that was a growth experience that taught me about myself, and I'm sure it taught that person a little bit about themselves too.
yeah, I'm positive, or at least now that they're in jail.
Now that they're in prison, yeah.
Do you know that if there is a quickening after a murder, you cannot be legally tried for it?
I did not know
true.
that.
Yeah, if you are 100% sure, there's going to be a quickening after you cut someone's head off with a katana.
I guess that explains why in Highlander the series. I mean, Duncan kills a lot of dudes, right? But he never has to face any litigatory pressure.
I would never watch something like that. I don't know why you would reference that. What? No. What? No.
On USA.
Awesome.
It's all good. It's all fun and games to talk about cutting a manager's head off with a katana, but when you're talking about actually watching Highlander, I don't know, like the series, it goes a little too far for me, I think.
Formspring, let me give you some real advice here.
Uh-oh.
I know. Here's what you need to do. The next time your manager doodles something or makes something out of a straw paper, act like it's the greatest thing you've ever seen and encourage him to become a famous artist.
Ooh,
pretty good.
I like that. Tell him that he's too good for retail and he needs to get out.
Exactly. And then after he quits, be like, I was just kidding. That's dumb.
Yeah, and they'll be like, I'm the manager now. Highlander! Like, say that. Here's another option. Ask him to come back to the warehouse and look at something for you while there's a bunch of people in there. And then just, like, as soon as you get back there, shout, no, you can't touch my wiener. Like that. Like, you can't rub it and touch it. And then, like, run out screaming with your pants around your ankles. And people will call for his head. And then, after they call for his head,
Cut it off, quickening, Highlander.
Yeah.
I'm with. I think I know what the theme of this episode is.
A Highlander-style quickening after an empty accusation of sexual misconduct.
There can be only one appropriate response.
I'm a 28-year-old dude, and my boyfriend is 52. My friends are all cool with the gay thing, but how do I approach the age gap? He's a pretty cool guy and not at all a granddad. Cheers. And this comes to us from Yes, I Know It's Weird.
Listen.
Okay.
Okay, listen. Are you listening?
I am.
It kind of sucks that he's not at all a granddad. I am not.
You always have Werther's originals.
If I was a homosexual, I would totally want a granddad boyfriend.
Yeah, totally.
Think of the benefits.
Many.
Too many to name.
Yeah, there's using ginger cream as lubricant. That's all I got.
I was gonna
That's
make.
not- Were you gonna go around that region or?
Around that area involving dentures and the options that provides.
Whoa, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, take those dentures out, Papa.
Yumma, yumma.
Yumma, indeed.
I was just thinking about how awesome it would be to roll up to like a hardcore gay club with like a dude who looks like Andy Griffith in a sweater vest.
Or a dude that is Andy Griffith.
What's nice is that you can you get to eat dinner at like 4:30, which is good. That's I guess that's gay, bad, or indifferent, right? Like either way, I mean,
I could date a grandma and still get that treatment.
Oh boy.
Yeah. What is age gap these days? We're living to like 130, 140.
That's a great point, Travis. Science.
I mean, this guy's got 25 years on him, though. I mean, that's a significant chunk of change.
Yeah. 24, but
who's counting?
Who's counting? Who can do simple subtraction?
Clearly not me.
Well, it's not his birthday. Cut him some slack. I think that if your friends are already cool with the gay thing, you got to understand that, like, I mean, it's not that they're not understanding. It's that, and you might love this grandpa very much, but it's still like bringing an old guy around.
Oh, get him a T-shirt that says "World's Best Grandpa," but mark out "Grandpa" and write "boyfriend."
No, come on.
I was gonna go with lover, but
Come on. Let's help this.
Here's the important thing when it comes to an age gap. It's not the age that's important, it's the interests. If you share the same interests, if you're into the same things, if you get along well, age doesn't matter. But if you don't connect on that level, like if you want to go out all the time and he wants to stay home, if you have different interests and you're not interested in the same thing, and this applies, for anyone entering in a relationship with an older person or, in any relationship, if you don't have similar interests, if you don't agree on things, it's not a good match. If you do, then who the fuck cares?
Well, and that's
if you guys agree, if you're happy together, then
and they will get your friends. I think if you continue in this relationship and you continue to bring him around, your friends will get acclimated. Like they really will. I mean, they will adjust to this guy, and maybe it won't seem so weird to them after a while. I mean, we're all just people, right? Underneath the skin.
They'll get along really well with him, especially once he keeps giving them like really old, dry pieces of chewing gum. No, but on the serious though, if you have similar interests with him and you have similar interests with your friends, they're gonna get along great.
Yeah,
you just gotta prove it.
That being said, be prepared for the fact that you will get that initial
so much.
Who is that guy? And you just have to be braced for that. I have a lot of friends that are in relationships with people much older than them. And, I mean, it's one of those things where you just have to be ready for that initial, like, wow, he's a lot older than you. And you go, I know, but I love him.
Oh, my God. Have him show up and say he is your granddad, and then halfway. Wait. Now listen. Hear me out.
Worst thing you've ever said.
Hear me out. Have him come and say he is your granddad, and then halfway through the night, just like you two just tongue kiss like crazy, and then he'll be like, "What up, fuckers? Mind blown!" And he'll be like, "Wow, you're the coolest guy ever!" And you say, "But no, we are seriously in love."
And then he breaks into a great guitar solo.
We're very much in love, really.
Yes.
And they will be so punked. So they will love it.
When you're looking for the best way to acclimate your group of friends to your older boyfriend, the best thing you can do is pretend he's your grandpa. And just bone down on him.
Right, tongue kiss him right in the middle of the night. I hope our dad, who is 3 years older than this guy, does not listen to this show and is saying that a 52-year-old man is like pretty much dead. He's pretty much like a dead guy. It's like the crypt keeper following you around. I need help. And you've come to the right place. My friend has a crush on me and has asked me out on numerous dates. I keep politely saying I'm busy that weekend or I have no money, hoping he'll take a hint, but he keeps persisting. Is there a way to let him know there's no way me and him could ever be together without ruining our friendship? That's friend troubles, Gmail. Yeesh.
Bad news, your friendship's ruined.
Yeah, it's already ruined.
But don't worry about it, because that's not on you. That shit's not on you. That shit's on him.
Oh, yeah.
He made things weird. He's the weird one.
He is attacking your country. You just got to defend yourself.
That's right. He's the aggressor.
Now, straight up, though, cut out this hint bullshit, and you just need to be like,
you need to roll up a newspaper and smack him right on the tip of his nose.
Precisely.
Yeah, no joke. Like, you got to be stern with him and be like, listen, if we're going to keep being friends, you need to fucking cut this shit out, because I'm not into
the longer this goes on, the less of a chance you have of salvaging the friendship. You've got to just really straight up say, listen, I don't want this to be embarrassing or weird, but it's not going to happen with you and me. I just don't feel about you that way, and I really like you, and I want to keep hanging out with you and being friends. And who knows? Maybe if we're friends long enough, I'll come around. And then just like let it go at that. You got
to trust me. I will get over it. I mean, he will get it. Happy birthday to not me.
It feels like everybody's birthday but Griffin's today, doesn't it? It's weird.
That's how I feel every day.
You got to give it to him straight. Don't leave him any hope. Like, seriously, I know it seems cruel, but there's nothing crueler than what you're doing right now. I promise. Because when you say these excuses, what he hears, what the guy's brain, what the male's brain translates that into is nothing. He doesn't translate at all. He hears exactly what you're saying. Like, we don't take hints.
She doesn't have enough time. Okay, great.
I will wait until she's more free. She has more free time.
Hey, I have a Yahoo answer. It was sent in by J Regal 21, which is pretty cool.
It's a good one.
It's by Yahoo Answers user OM Gitsal.
Okay.
All right. And it's one of those answers that's not particularly, or the question itself rather isn't particularly.
Is it maybe OMG? It's Sal.
It might be what it is.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want to decode this anymore.
Thank you. You're so much better at translating internet speak than I am. But it's one of those great questions where the comedy doesn't so much come from the question itself, rather it comes from the answers. OMG, it's Sal asks, need help with my story title. Hi, I'm writing a story about a young woman who has 3 children, and one day she gets into a horrible accident and the 3 children die. Her life changes forever from that moment on. She ends up falling in love with a man whose brother was driving the car that killed her kids. You have any ideas for a title? Thanks. Smiley face. So that's the question.
I would call it Yakety Sax.
Isn't that what Family Matters was about?
Yes. Family Matters would be an appropriate title for this book.
What about Perfect Strangers?
Perfect Strangers, Empty House, all of these.
Empty.
3 was enough, but now we're back down to 0. Guys, fucking trust me, there's nothing we can say that's going to be funnier than the questions that the real internet turned out.
Okay, the answers. The answers.
Here's one from Nina, who replies, "Riding waves, parentheses, emotional waves." Grace says, the painful reminder, or the reminder, because he reminds her about the kids and the painful loss. Source, my mind.
Fuck you. It does not say that.
Didn't plagiarize that one. That one came right from her dumb piece.
Right from the noggin. This is noggin cream that I made just for your problem here.
Sakura Shaughnessy has a bunch of really good ones. Here we go.
Okay.
Loving the dead. The day they died. The day they died.
Okay.
Wispy memories.
Wispy memories. I'm trying to solidify this memory in my head, but I can't. It's just ephemeral. It's right there. It's wispy.
Coping with the pain.
Coping with the pain. I like it. It flows.
The day they never saw night. Huh?
But?
Grieving mom. That's pretty straightforward, I guess.
Book.
Grief.
Book.
Grief, tears, and love? There is a question.
That's like they're best friends, but one of them's a cat. Like that kind of thing.
Sits on her lap.
Lynn Diane replies, fatal crossing. Maybe the children are killed crossing the street or at a crosswalk or at a railroad crossing. Bitch, don't try to rewrite this book before it's wrote.
This is coming from my heart. Source my mind. Trust me. Trust on the fact that you're not going to help me in the edits. This is a titling project only. I am creative enough to come up with a whole book, but not a title for the book.
Percy Jackson 127, who is a top contributor to Yahoo, we haven't seen one of those in a while, responds, taming soul, taking flight, burning memories.
Okay.
Love with the murderer.
Maybe they died in a plane crash.
Love with the murderer's boy.
What?
Love with the murderer's boy.
This guy has a fundamental misunderstanding of what this story is about.
Yeah.
Not like we do. He didn't get it.
Here's my title. A book about a woman who falls in love with the dude that killed her kids.
Let me hit you guys with There Can Be Only None.
Ooh.
What do you think? Yeah. We got to have a better title than these people. I do like writing waves of emotion.
Emotional waves.
Emotional waves. Source.
There's no source on that one, but I'm going to go ahead and assume it was also her mind.
No, that was her heart.
How about moving out?
Whoa, I like it.
The music man.
What about My Hero? Am I to believe that this story is that she falls in love with the brother of the guy who accidentally killed her kids?
Yes.
This is not
called the book Sorry About My Brother.
That's not a very good book. It doesn't sound like a very good, like a very interesting story. Like it seems like that conversation would kind of be like, isn't that? Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I know. What can you do, right? Oh, that's a good title. What can you do?
What can you do?
Oh well.
How about just uh-oh. Whoops.
Oops.
My bad.
Also, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
I had college class that got out early. I ended up asking the girl I have a crush on and who I usually talk to during class out to grab something to eat. I don't consider it a date, but I wanted to get a sense of where I stand with this girl. Overwhelmingly, I kept her laughing and entertained, and she kept telling me how funny I was. I consider myself a handsome gent, and I have good manners, and there was never any breaks in conversation or awkward pauses. My question for you, is keeping being the funny guy enough to give me a viable chance with this girl? Sincerely, Pagliacci, the sad clown.
I like it.
I like that very much.
Dopest.
That is a really dope name.
College, huh? That's my official response to this.
I'm really weighing this one out. I'm trying to piece this together. I think if I was a girl, the number one thing I would look for is to be continually surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe tomorrow you go in all business.
Is that the opposite of funny to you? I would